I suppose the story starts from birth because some people have notions that neonatal hormones affect one's ultimate gender trajectory. But the first memories I have really, I'm not so much the story I hear so often of from the moment somebody could speak, they said, I'm a different gender. I must be a boy. I must be a girl. I never said that, but I remember from the age of about 8, going to summer camp, and I would dress very tomboyish, and I'd put my hair up in a hat, and I used to hang out looking tough, wanting people to think I was a boy. I remember I borrowed a male friend's clothes once, and we went to hang out in the neighborhood, and I pretended like I was deaf so that I wouldn't have to talk, so that when people approached me, I was terribly ableist, but I would fake sign at them basically and be like, yeah, I'm a dude. My family was very conservative, more or less religious. I was raised in the Mormon church actually, which is quite invested in its gender roles. I remember that there would be these drag-out arguments with me and my mom or me and my aunt about what I'd wear, because they always wanted to get me something pink and frilly. Like, not just, okay, this is somewhat girly, but just the sort of most girly thing that you can find at Walmart they wanted to put on me. I refused to wear dresses after the age of 4, and my aunt, who's still very Christian, well, very fundamentalist Christian, I should say, because I'm more progressive, but I remember she got me this dress that had watermelons all over it, and I had this visceral reaction of disgust against it. And I just would not wear it. And to this day, she thinks, oh, I created that because I made you wear the watermelon dress, and you were so traumatized that now you're becoming a man. In high school, I became a lesbian. And that's the way I had it in my mind. I am a lesbian. I had this drag-out argument with my mother where, just to get her, I shouted into a car as I was leaving, and by the way, I'm a lesbian. And I just slammed the door, and I thought she was gonna get all angry. She just rolled down the window, and she said, okay, and just drove away, which was more scary than getting angry, come to think. I just dropped having a gender identity. I didn't identify as genderqueer as some do. I identified as Borg, out of a kind of satire, because we are the gender, resistance is futile, you will be assimilated. And that worked for me for a while, because the whole gender thing seemed like such a faff that it was much easier to have a satirical identity. I didn't really have a breakthrough until I went to a Harry Potter convention in San Francisco with my then wife, and because I'd been doing research on homoerotic Harry Potter fan fiction, and I was going to this convention because I was going to present my work, and I thought it would be very academic, but I went in a costume because that would be fun. People will address you as the character. So suddenly it was like, oh, hi, Professor Lupin. Oh yeah, him over there, that's Professor Lupin. And I was like, oh, because for about a week, people were calling me he and treating me as a male person. And it was just so wonderful. And I met a lot of trans people as well, because it seems obvious now, but at the time I met a lot of people there who were cosplayers, who were also transgender or intersex, or just somewhat gender atypical in their presentation. And it was the first time I met a lot of these people en masse, and they were happy, and at least to me they seemed quite empowered. Everything that we are is very constructed. We don't have total control over it, so knowing that, one doesn't need to be a victim of the categories that are imposed on us. One can make what we are, which I suppose is a bit of the asterisk on the end of trans identity. Sometimes it is finding our authentic selves, but on top of it, it's making our authentic selves, which I think we all can be engaged in.